Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with various wins for the Sequoia Creek and the Black Hole 9-hole cup here in Golf Clash the game. Before we take a closer look at the shots, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Those of you that do want to get the qualifying round guide for Master Division here for the upcoming 9-hole cup, you will receive it by just becoming a patron. Doesn't matter what package level you're having. Just by becoming a patron on any level, you will receive the qualifying round guide. For those that are looking for the final round guide, then you will have to have the ultimate tournament text guide packages. And now with a lower cut line as well, meaning that 75% of everyone in the qualifying round bracket will receive a spot in the final round, definitely gives you a big edge having a guide to secure a spot in the final round. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we are going to play down the left-hand side. I know there will be people wondering, why don't we play down to the right? It's because from the left-hand side, in my opinion, are by far the best chance of getting an eagle, even though there is a rough bump chance from the right-hand side too. 6 top spin, 3 left spin, ball guideline straight down the fairway. Adjustment here in this angle is going to be max plus 10 P3. So we make an adjustment for the max plus 10. And then we will center the ball and try to hit. Perfect. I'm using a win 4 ball here, such as Centurion. You can play with a Kingslayer as well, and obviously with a win 5 ball if you want that too. But I don't really see any point in playing with anything better than a win 4 here. We could save the win 5s to another hole. The ball here is going to roll somewhere between 355 and 365. That's at least the goal. Second shot, we play with the Falcon. Even though you have the Falcon in a lower level, you will still be able to have the top spin enough to get the ball guideline to be through the hole. And that's the important part here. Like, we do want to have the top spin enough because the ball guideline will be very well shown, even though you do not have the ball guideline in fully developed on your club. So here, from the 362-yard mark as a reference, we are playing that one 65% slider, 10% elevation, P3 numbers. Obviously, depending on what type of wind angle you have, then the adjustment may change. So I'm just giving you a reference based on an old note that I'm having here. Bounces into the rough. And it rolls down, and we get in this one to drop right at pin for a beautiful start here with an eagle on hole number 1. For hole number 2, we are in, regardless what wind we have, we're gonna play a rough bump. 3 right spin and then 3.5 bar backspin. And now we're looking to play into the funnel that is just right there, basically. Ball guideline to the hole. Inner ring by the rough line, and we are in complete max distance with a power 2 ball, and this makes to be a very simple landing spot to find. Max plus 15, and we do want to favor 1201 with our pull here, because if we do favor 1159, there is a risk that we do bounce on the fairway before the rough, and then we're gonna bounce over the green, and then that's going to be sad. Center the ball, hit perfect. And there's definitely a good chance of getting a drop here on hole number 2. So regardless what wind direction we have, we are going to play the rough bump due to taking advantage of that massive funnel that we do have there. Right at pin for a hole in 1 here with a NASCAR. When not having a more straighter tailwind, this hole is going to be extremely boring. And the reason for that is that with a tailwind we can bounce over the water and we can have a shot with our long iron towards the pin. But now, that's not the case. We are going to have the bullseye by the rough line and we're going to use 2 bars of topspin. Adjustment's going to be max minus 5% P5 numbers. And that is an under adjustment for this shot, and the reason for that is that we do want to have our starting position by the rough line. This to simplify it for all the apocalypse levels that are being suggested, which is apocalypse level 5+. Bounces on the fairway and getting the ball down nicely. The goal is to be as close to the rough line without obviously rolling into it. So, second shot, we're gonna play with the wood club that gives us the most power and also the best ball guideline after that. For me, it's Cataclysm level 7, and for you, that might be a big dog, I don't know. But in the end, the better ball guideline you have, then the, you know, not easier, but then the better chance you're gonna have here to drop. So I'm trying to have the ball guideline to be just into the hole here. And once I've done that, I'm switching to have the ball guideline go a little bit shorter. The problem I have here though is that I'm making it to be way shorter than what it should be. Max +10 P5, and we are going to then after that center the ball and hit perfect. What I would say here though is that this is going to be a tough par 5 to get anything else than an eagle on if we do have a crosswind or headwind or just a minor tailwind off tee. But now with the new topspin boost balls and everything, if we do have a tailwind, I do definitely believe that we can kick that ball to be very close to the green by going on the left hand side. But again, we are dependent on tailwind to get to play that way. Otherwise, we are settling for an eagle most of the time with an outside chance for an albatross. Hole number 4 offers a very good chance for an hole-in-one, and here we're going to play a shot where we put ourselves in complete max distance with a sniper and a power 1 ball, looking for the second bounce before spins added to be just into the rough like that. Then we will apply 0.8 top spin and 2.1 left spin. Adjustment here is going to be maximum distance with a 15% over adjustment, power 0 numbers. Unfortunately, I'm pushing the rings here due to otherwise having to zoom out a lot because the tree will be in the way. And I don't like pushing rings because that is definitely going to be inconsistencies with it, especially if you're not having grid lines. Center the ball, hit perfect, and you give yourself a good chance for a drop on a par 3, where I do believe that regardless what wind angle we're having, there's definitely a solid chance for an hole-in-one every single time. Perfect speed coming down that hill, and we're getting that one to drop on the right side of the cup for an hole-in-one here on hole number 4. For hole number 5, we're going to send it. This is going to be a chance for an hole-in-one in my opinion. So what we're gonna do here now is that we are going to use a berserker because that's the only thing that actually is necessary here. Sure, you can use another ball such as a wind 0 ball or something like that, and you can get yourself a little slower needle. You can see that we're aiming almost to the center of the tree, and adjustment is max +10 P5. The push-up is gonna vary depending on wind strength. So in this instance, I'm pushing up to the top of +18. Max overpower with a slower needle, 1.5 ball of curl to the right. Great left, great right, definitely has a chance to still get to green, and obviously a perfect has that possibility too. You see it rolls down and we are in a very good position making an eagle. The only thing that I would recommend here is to don't go too heavy on the topspin. The reason for that is that there is a glitch roll that is impossible to cover yourself from every single time. And that glitch roll could potentially make you roll over the green if you do have too much topspin applied. So I would recommend to go with less topspin and to basically counteract for that glitch roll already from the beginning, which would mean that you with getting the glitch roll, you will be on the green for a pot, but without the glitch roll you will be by the fringe for a short wedge. That's how I would do. Obviously you decide whatever you want to do yourself. If you do have a straight crosswind or there is a headwind, unfortunately you're going to have to lay up because then you can't go for green. But let's hope for a tailwind because that's going to be way more fun. Hole number 6, we are going to do our very best to play over to the right hand side, even though we do have some headwind. And this is obviously the most tough wind you can get, besides having a direct headwind here. In a tailwind, we could try to play a power slice and try to get the ball to green. Even though that's inconsistent, it's definitely a nice way of maybe removing the need of hitting perfect on the second shot and getting an albatross, because this is going to be a tough par 5 regardless what way we're playing here. And I would say that the drive will most likely be a tough one regardless the wind direction. 5.8 topspin and 4 right spin. The goal here is to bounce into the rough and roll out, and I'm using 2 rings more overpower than what I do adjust into, and 2 balls of curl to the right. Playing with a Kingslayer, obviously now when we do have P4 side spin 4 balls, then we can use that as well to reduce the need of overpower. Second shot, we're looking at the +7 yard mark, and the reason we do that is because we're gonna play a your turn plus yardage. So +7 yard mark is gonna be 62% slider plus 30% elevation, P3 numbers. I'm using all the left spin possible with the ball guideline to be approximately 1 green square short of pin. And here is also a way of seeing the side spin 4 to be huge value for you, because the side spin 4 allows you to start your position way more right, so you can avoid the trees in a much better way. However though, you will always adjust so the trees show that it will cover the ball, or like the ball guideline arc, but do not be alarmed of that, because the wind will push the ball enough right and make sure that it's not going to clip the tree. Gets down the green and it rolls very nicely dead center for a beautiful albatross here, which is something I will take all day and every day, because this one is a tough one to drop. Hole number 7, when we do have a slight headwind, now I would recommend to play with one of the bigger ball, or not bigger ball, but better balls, such as a P5 wind 5 or a P4 wind 5. Obviously a wind 4 ball would work as well. It's just that I do want to prevent us from having to use overpower especially if we have a little bit more headwind than this. Max +10, and we are going to play with 7 topspin and 1 right spin. As to avoid the sequoia tree now, we're going to have to use right curl, and we're going to use right curl is going to be approximately 2 balls to the right. Goal here obviously is to hit perfect as always, and to end up somewhere around 365 to 370 yards, which means that we do not want to have a glitch roll here. We do want bounce, 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 and then just slow down. This is absolutely perfect. Now, for the second shot, we are going to use a pin check. So we're gonna move our bullseye to be, sorry, fringe check obviously, not pin check. We're gonna move the bullseye to be just where the fringe meets the fairway. And we're gonna apply 1 right spin and 0.8 backspin. Ball guideline here to be just through the hole. And from the +8 fringe check, we are going to play, in that case, let me see here, I have an old note here on the side. And we're gonna play 82% slider with a 20% elevation. P4 numbers are based on this shot here. Now we'll probably see that to work in the other crosswind angle as well. So have in mind, this is the suggestion for this type of wind direction, and the adjustment may differ if the direction is different. Bounce on the fairway, comes down, and we're dropping this one right at pin for a beautiful eagle on a tough hole such as hole number 7, when we do have such a tough wind as we have. For hole number 8, we are going to play a no movement, so don't touch the target until it's time to adjust the rings. 1 right spin and 3.8 backspin is what I'm looking for, and I'm looking to play minimum distance with a 5% elevation, power 1 ball settings, even though we do play with a power 3 ball. This is a very tough par 3, regardless what wind we're having. It's always going to be all the bumpiness on that fairway, combined with that slight uphill slope, that we do have just before the green. Those two things as a combination is going to be very difficult to adapt for every single time. However, though, with this NMT shot, there by experience playing NMT here, there is definitely a good chance for an hole-in-one. But in the end, it's not a par 3 that you can count gonna drop all the time. For hole number 9, here we do have a tailwind, but I personally don't see the value in sending it here because there are so many things that could go wrong. So I do see more value in laying up and play into the funnel that we do have by playing the rough bump on the second shot. But first the drive, half a bar top spin, 1.5 bar left spin. You can see that with a POC 7 we have a slight gap from the white ring and the rough line edge. Max curl to the left, and this looks scary, but the tree is actually further away than what it looks. But obviously if the wind angle is how can I explain? If the wind angle isn't in our favor, then the tree will be in place. So it's always important to have in mind and test in practice first if you don't have a guide to follow. Max plus 10 P3 and max curl to the left. Second shot, we're going to play a rough bump as already explained. 3 right spin and as much top spin you can with the sniper, which let's say max top spin and 3 right spin. And here we're gonna play based on our landing spot plus yard, but you can also see that there is a funnel there by moving a little bit right and left. So if you wiggle that one left and right, you will notice that you definitely are into a funnely spot or just a sticky spot, whatever you would like to call it. 10% elevation, and from plus 2 yard mark we're gonna play 61% slider. We're also playing with a big 12-1 here, and the reason we play with a big 12-1 is to pull ourselves further back to avoid having to go with a pullback. Center the ball and hit perfect, and this is going to give you a solid chance for an albatross. Ball clips the rough, rolls down and catches that funnel spot. And I always love this roll because it takes so long for the ball to get to green, but it's always kind of showing if it's going to drop or not, which is very exciting. So getting an albatross here on hole number 9 is not something everyone will do, but the chance is definitely there. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division with various win for the Sequoia Creek in the Black Hole 9-hole Cup. And I would like to say here though that due to the lower cut, which is 75% of the players are making the final round here in Master, make sure to get our guide package. No matter what package you have on Patreon, then you will receive the Master qualifying round guide for the 9-hole Cup. Those of you that do have the Ultimate Tournament guides, and to get the Ultimate Tournament guides, and then you will receive the final round guide as well. So try it out and go through patreon.com/golfclashtommy. The link is in the description down below. Thank you once again for watching, and a good luck in your Golf Clash game.